Hello, this is Jennifer Goodman with Good Life Luxury and Modern Home Tour Austin. I'm here today with Michael Thurman of Thurman Homes. Michael, we are thrilled about your entry into this year's Modern Home Tour at 3306 Lakeside.
We are as thrilled to be here, fourth-time participant, so we're looking forward to it.
You're a four-timer.
We are a four-timer. We got a couple under our belt.
That is awesome. So you are typically known for your high-value homes in the East End and ability to really sort of push the envelope. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the intelligence behind this house, because it's different than homes you've had on tour in the past.
It is different. There's a multitude of reasons for that. We do typically gear towards value and cool stuff for the price. This time we kind of went up. We're pushing the envelope with the price a little bit, but the product carries it. The spirit on this one was collaboration. I had a gentleman, probably one of the coolest guys I know, spends more time traveling than I do for sure. Jansen Mattsdorf is a gentleman that I've just known here in East Austin over the years, approached me and said, hey, I'm gonna go to Europe. You wanna build this? And I said, yeah, let me take a look at it. So he laid it down in front of me, and needless to say, it's not a walk in the park. But we were up to the challenge, and that's kind of how it all got started. We built it, and it has turned out to be a very unique product.
Yeah, I mean, the exposure of the beams in such a modern house, it really warms it up.
It is. We've seen across the nation what some people are referring to as farmhouse modern. It's probably not a far cry from that. Our beams and rafters aren't as farmhouse-ish as that, but they are very industrial. We are carrying that with a exposed air conditioning system, exposed with the garage door. So we're borderline modern, borderline farmhouse modern. So.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit more on the modern side. The farmhouse has been done, as we all know, and it's been widely accepted in Austin because it really does give you the best of both worlds. But I think you do lean a little bit more toward modern in this particular house.
Again, we used straight up trusses on this. So there wasn't any elaborate, configuration to make them pretty, to make them smooth, to dress them up. How they came out of the factory is how they came out of the factory. About the only thing we did was to tape off the gussets that hold it together to keep the metal look going. But beyond that, yeah, we tried to leave it as rustic as you might see a warehouse.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit more about the flow of the house.
Man, it's hard not to just know the primary flow, which is to walk in and see that garage door.
It's a work of art.
It is, and it was a work of labor to get it in there and not have everything go south. We left ourselves a solid 3 inches of play between the air conditioning ducts, the electrical fixtures, and the garage door, of which you'll see when you go through it. But that dance was definitely a tango. Beyond that, after you've flowed out and soaked up the creek in the back, the upstairs has 2 nice-sized bedrooms, has an office. Again, you've got an office that is overlooking that backyard and the creek. All very airy, all very bright, lots of windows in that house. And then if you pop back downstairs to the master suite, it speaks for itself. We've got floating vanities, under vanity lighting that lights up the floor at night, and then just all of the cool things like walk-in showers and just really some high-end cabinetry this year. So yeah, just some cool stuff.
Yeah, and you touched on the green space, which, I mean, for this particular lot is pretty magical.
In this particular case, it's beyond magical because there's nobody to the left of you for about 1,000 feet. There's nobody to the right of you for about 300-400 feet. And when it greens up over there, you really can't see the backyard neighbors. You've got your backyard, then you've got the gigantic creek, and then you have theirs, and that's a good 500 feet back there. So you can walk down into your backyard and look up the creek, enjoy that view, or you can just sit up top and listen to it. It pretty much runs year round. It doesn't take much water to get it flowing to have that trickle sound. So you can crack your window at night and that'll put you to sleep real quick.
Awesome.
It is awesome.
So Michael, this house, as we talked about, is a bit of a departure. What does it really mean to you as a builder and as an Austinite?
Quite a bit. I mean, you wouldn't think so, given the fact that I've been doing a similar product line for about 8 years now. But that's kind of why we did this project. Number one, it was our opportunity to work with somebody else. So both from a one-on-one relationship as well as architectural. So we had ATX architects come in and they worked with Jansen on the design.
Okay.
So Jansen had the vision, ATX brought the vision to a buildable product. Both of those groups did a masterful job. We then had to look at it when it was put in front of me and say, okay, to your point, big departure from what we've been doing, but it represented opportunity for us. It represented an opportunity to do something different, to push our envelope as a company. We've built at the coast, which we've built here in Austin. We've done modular, we've done remodels. So this was kind of a natural progression for Thurman Homes to take a product like this, which is really an extreme product once you get inside it and see how it's built, from exposed tongue and groove, exposed rafters, exposed air conditioning, garage door, the garage door that meets code, doing things that are correct to the detail that we did on this house was an opportunity for us, and that was kind of how we approached it. It also illustrates the need for city reform. And you're saying, well, why is that? One of the reasons we picked this up was because it came to us as a package.
Okay.
So Thurman Homes had the permit, the land, the engineering, everything was handed to us with the purchase of this. And so we didn't have to go battle the city, which was nice. So when you can have something handed to you, hand to mouth, and you can start on it day one, that's nice, to not have to go battle the city and go through that rigmarole. But I would say opportunity and collaboration were the two biggest reasons why we stepped into this headstrong, and it's turned out really well.
Was the siting of the house, once you got those plans, how did the siting come into play? Like, how did you really decide, I'm going to put the house here versus setting it back? As far as, you had plenty of room.
We did. There are geographical and legal easements and things of that nature. Well, specifically legal easements. So your front setback and your rear setback, but more importantly in the rear there, because the creek is back there, there is a drainage easement that has been established for that property, as well as all the properties on each side. So we are within about 8 inches of how far back we could go. So again, not my doing, that was Jansen and ATX's mastery of that line runs across that property at an angle, and that's why the back porch is at an angle. So they did a good job of dealing with the obstacles in front of them.
Yeah. And what about from a building perspective, be it the envelope and the interior? I know you're always conscious about sort of how to get the best value once that home is built. So from an air conditioning and all those other things, like what did you do with this house that you might not have done with any other house? The
air conditioning or layout of the house is on a north and south exposure. So it's very north-south. In front of the house is due south, and north is the backyard. So the architecture lends itself to natural shading to avoid a lot of heat on the cinder block wall, for example, because you can't insulate a cinder block wall. It is what it is. It's concrete. So the architecture on the southern exposure lends itself to natural shade to avoid that. Again, you flip that around, you go to the back patio, you're not going to have too much sun back there where you don't want the sun in the middle of June. You're going to have a nice breeze blowing through the house with the garage door, the creek, and those are some of the things that they designed that house around, with those factors in mind. Well, Michael, thanks so much for coming in and sharing about the property with us. Again, we are thrilled to have you as a four-timer on the Modern Home Tour. Pretty excited. All right. So, Michael Thurman of Thurman Homes has this year's entry of 3306 Lakeside Drive. We look forward to seeing you at this year's Modern Home Tour.